But don't feel bad though.
The whole time I
Let's say that's another topic.
I think, we don't start.
The link below, do you see it? Why are you watching me still? You haven't clicked the link yet. Click it. Click it. Click the link right now.
At the church and
It was
all that.
great. It was great.
Yeah.
We had this powerful time. Worship. We had dance team.
Yeah.
And I was talking earlier about two young ladies that came, and oh my gosh, man, they played the guitar, acoustic, and they sing just like
Acoustic, wow.
just perfectly. And so afterwards, I went up and shared a powerful message. But this is what blessed me too, man. At the end, people came up and gave their life to the Lord, but one of the young ladies came up afterwards and was like, hey, I need prayer. So I'm like, absolutely, sure. And she was like, my uncle, he's a worship leader, and he just got kidnapped this past Thursday.
What?
Yeah.
Here?
So I'm not sure if it's here,
Yeah.
but she's like, it's all over social media. And so she was like, while he was singing, they came up on the stage and took him. And so I'm like,
Wow.
Oh my gosh. And so in that moment, you could feel fearful and like, whoa, what,
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, let's pray. And so we started praying. And while we were praying, we just felt like this release. I felt this release. And I just started praising God. And I said, well, it's gonna be well, let me know, hit us back with the feedback, And so they text my wife the same night and said, they release him. They release him the same evening we prayed.
Wow.
So we prayed in the afternoon and they
Yeah.
released him the same night.
Wow.
And so we were just like, man, look at God, man.
Wow.
So
That
good.
is awesome.
Yeah. It's just like things like those where, Easter Sunday came to set the captives free, and people who are held captive,
Yeah.
you literally set them
Literally.
free. Not just
Wow.
figuratively,
Yeah.
but physically.
Yeah.
And so it's some of those
Yeah.
really cool stuff just to see him in motion, and it just
Yeah.
make your life full.
Yeah. With your design for your company, your design company,
Yes, sir.
and you design homes.
Yes.
We spoke, you said you did a school. That's crazy.
Yes.
When I was in school and they would have us draw the homes. Like, you draw, you do that.
Yeah.
I would do like the square. It wouldn't be a perfect square either.
Right.
I'll put a little triangle at the top.
Yep. Basic
Do a
concept.
little, that's it. That's about the most house you're gonna get out of me.
Wow. And the more you draw,
Yeah.
with repetition, then you learn the angles, and even just as an artist,
Yeah.
you kind of learn the curves, and you learn how to make the pen, come out a certain way, or the pencil lighter or darker or thinner, just but over time, it's your passion though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my house, all artists, my kids, from my 9-year-old down to my 4-year-old, they draw. We all draw.
Wow.
Yeah, my wife draws, but she doesn't draw as much,
Yeah.
but we all are artists. Yeah.
That's crazy. Now,
Yeah.
was that art passion always in you? Well, always there?
Yes, I'd say since about, I could remember back to like 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I would draw pictures and I'd bring it to my mom like, hey mom, you see my horse? This is how you draw a horse. And I remember telling her how to hold a pencil and how to draw the eyes, and it just comes back.
What?
Yeah, so I was always drawing.
Yeah.
But I remember, I'm trying to remember if it was her, was saying I want to be an artist when I grew up. And that person who I told was an adult figure. I'm trying to remember if it's her or somebody else, but they were like, you need to be either an engineer or an architect. Because artists, they don't make money. But that was the perspective and the view, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because you got artwork that's 100,000, you know, 75,000, but it just depends on how well known or how good you really are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we love art. Yeah.
That's good though. As parents, kids seeing what we do, and acting on that, learning from us, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. Because I heard a story. There's a story, I forgot who said, it's either TD Jakes, I forgot. But there was a pastor sharing this story, and he was like, there was two twins, and they were born to an alcoholic father.
Wow.
So they grew up with an alcoholic dad. One twin grew up to be an alcoholic.
Wow.
And the other twin didn't. The other son didn't. And so they asked the first twin that was alcoholic, it was like, hey, why are you alcoholic? He's like, my dad was alcoholic. The other one, hey, why don't you drink alcohol? Because my dad was alcoholic. So you kind of like go either here or there based on how you were, you know, the household you were raised up in. So I guess just talk a little bit about, you know, what it means to impact your children with your actions.
Yeah. And that's some really, really good points you shared. I think about with my kids, I know they will learn more from just seeing me do it.
Yeah.
Rather than me just telling them to do it.
Yeah.
Or telling them how to be. I mean, just even my dad, just being a man, I used to watch him and say, okay, this is how a man should walk. And I would ask questions like, Dad, where's my waist? Where should I put my pants?
Wow.
Yeah. And he was old school. He was like, by the navel. I was like, what? You know? And so even with my kids, they have a saying that say, do as I say, not as I do, right? And so I think that's very hypocritical, where I'll tell you what to do, but don't copy how I'm living, you know? And so I do try to mirror the life that I'd like them to live or exceed, you know? And I plant little seeds in them, and they'll come and say, man, Daddy, I want to be just like you. And I'm like, man, you want to be greater. You want to surpass what I'm doing. I'm like, I create the foundation. You're going to build the walls, and you're going to take it to the next level, and you're going to expand. And just hearing their heart. And they get really funny, because they'll say stuff like, yeah, I'm going to be better than you, Daddy. I'm like, hey, don't go too far now, you know. Like, I don't mean it that way. I mean, you're going to excel and exceed. Don't, okay. But yeah, with that, it's just really trying to leave a legacy and just kind of just showing them, you know, like, listen, you have value within yourself. You don't have to go out here trying to find value. Yeah. It's in you already, in your individuality, in your uniqueness. Yeah. You are well worth it, you know? And I think in giving them the space to be creative, and even if the artwork might not look too hot when they first start, and you'd be like, man, I see what you're trying to do. That is nice. Yeah. And not just saying, not lying, but seeing the potential of where they're going. You know, I remember my little guy, he struggled drawing Sonic. And hours and hours and hours, he would perfect the nose, the eyes. Now, he's amazing. It's like a little comic book. Wow. Yeah, so even with that, just being diligent about perfecting your craft and staying at it and spending hours, and they'd see me working through the night. So they're like, Daddy, you work really hard. I said, well, hopefully I don't have to work hard all my life, but working hard is good, you know? Then work smart too. Yeah. So,
in doing what you're doing, I was just sitting here just thinking about your son spending hours drawing Sonic, and I'm like, wow, he's paying attention to the details. Yes. To do that. Yes. So being an artist, are you detail oriented? Yes. Or just when it comes to that?
Yeah, I'm detail with oh my goodness, with everything. Everything? Yeah. So so like even on the art side, if let's say I'm drawing a person, I try to get every detail: the pimple, the hair follicle, how the light hit the eye or the person, the nose, and this when I was used to doing, like, you know, portraits and still life. But I know detail is a lot, you know,
Yeah.
and if you leave that out, you can take away from what you're trying to portray. It's like telling a story and just giving the gist and not the meat, you know, just giving you the essence, you know. Even with designing homes, we believe like details are a big deal, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it might cost a little more to add all the details, but it makes it more quality because
Yeah.
time was spent, you know, in putting it together.
That's cool. Were you always like entrepreneur driven
Oh.
or business driven? Like,
Yeah.
you know, was that always a passion?
I think, how could I put it? When I got married, my mind started shifting because I wanted to, because I'm so in love with my wife. I'm like, man, I want to be around her all the time. And I want to make money. I don't want to go out to work. I want to work together and make money, our own brand, our
Yeah.
own business, whatever
Yeah.
it is, whatever
Yeah.
it looks like. And so there was this, I wasn't fulfilled. You know, I worked hard. I worked 16-hour, 18-hour days, and just, but there was this like this void because I wasn't putting that in my bank. No, I was putting in my bank account what I got from them,
Right.
but it wasn't credited to my legacy.
Yeah.
You know what I
Ooh.
mean? I was building their empire,
Yeah.
but I was putting 18 hours a day into their empire, building their massive towers.
Yeah.
And it, you know, not much was going to my family legacy.
Yeah.
You know, I was away, and I could say that in twofold because even though I worked hard, we always had enough in the house.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't go without. You know, so so I had that in my mind, like, okay, I'm working for the man, but my end goal is that we would build our own legacy together.
Yeah.
And so we started, and yeah, we both felt unfulfilled. And so we started designing T-shirts and selling those. And we started selling diamond watches, trying to, oh my goodness, like whatever.
Yeah.
Doing graphic designs and
Wow.
yeah, all these
Hustling.
different things. Yeah, people would send us stuff. Can you do a flyer, or can you enhance my picture? Can you, you know? And we would just grind. I'd sell artwork too on the job, and I didn't know the value of my art too. When somebody say, "Yeah, $400," I'm like, "What? You pay $400 for this? Sure, okay, let's go." You know? Yeah, and we start selling art pieces, and it was just custom pieces for what people wanted, not just me drawing something and say, "Hey, you want this?" It was just more, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But with all of that, I feel more fulfilled now.
Yeah.
You know, building for the kids that are here. You know, it's really cool. Hopefully, they want to do what I'm building. You know, be a part of that.
So where did designing homes come in at?
So I went to school and did engineering, which is more like the building blocks, the steel and dirt and concrete and how measurements and calculations. And
That's what engineering covers?
Yeah, right. And so how these parts come together and structurally sustain some, you know, structurally, yeah. And so I did engineering. My wife was doing architecture, but my passion is more into design and the art side, you know. And so it was at a point where the light bulb just went on, like, you guys need to partner. And so it's kind of weird saying partner with your wife.
Yeah.
You know, we married already.
Exactly.
Yeah, but even though she started a design firm like back in I think 2005, and it was called Baugh Designs, and she didn't do too much business with it, but it wasn't a partnership. It was just her deal. I support you. You go, honey. Yeah, you got it. Whatever you need, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm praying for you. You know, and it wasn't until like I believe 2013 where we felt compelled by the Lord to come together and do business together.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, we're actually going to do business together. and we got, she had a dream about the name. We changed the name, and it was just golden, man. Yeah, I could say so much more in that little piece, but yeah, it's really good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so you when you partnered with her, you were still at your job.
Yes.
And then you quit.
Yes.
You go in there full time with that.
Yeah.
What's that transition like?
Oh my goodness.
Were you nervous? Scared?
I was I was nervous, even though I saw I saw what was the word, product transitioning into dollars,
Okay.
I saw dollar signs happening. So I was, working, doing about, I think like 30 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be, my lunchtime, I'd be designing.
Mm-hmm.
In the wee hours of the night, I would be drawing and stuff like that. And so what's crazy was, when we transitioned to start partnering, I was the man that would just go out and bring the jobs in, go to the meetings, and I would just give her the projects and say, this is what we're doing, this is, such and such. And so it got so busy. She said, baby, you're gonna need a computer. We're gonna have to get the program for you. And I started freaking out because I'm like, man, I haven't used that program since 99, and it's like 2013 right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's changed so much since. And so she said, no, I'll teach you, I'll get you. We need help.
Yeah.
And so she bought a computer, and I'd work all through the night. So I'd I'd come from work around 5:30 or so, hang out with the family, the kids, and we'll jam out till around 10 or so, hang out with her.
Wow.
And then we spend our quality time, and then everybody's asleep. I'd grind till like 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, just learning, and she would give me all the different shortcuts, commands, and so forth. And then it wasn't until I was able to finish a project by myself. And she said, baby, you did a really great job. I'm like, what? I think so. Yeah, and then we were able to make money from that little project. And so, but the first year, just grinding the way I was grinding, I pulled in more money than my full-time job. I made about over 40K in the first year, just hustling. And I remember just looking at, I'm like, what? And then the second year, I was still making the same on my job.
Right.
And my business doubled to over 80.
Jeez.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. There's so, but we're still grinding and still going to work. And it was tough, because there were days where I remember I tell my guy that I worked with, because I was a senior guy and I had a guy that was assisting me. And there were days where I'd schedule a meeting. And I'd say, hey, let's I can meet you wherever you are. I can meet you Windermere, 5:30. I'm coming from a meeting. I'll meet you. So I'd go to these clients. I'd do business. And bring it home, grind on that. But what's crazy is when I realize I can make what I make in a month, in a week, or even in a day. So it's like the hustle mentality changed, Yeah, I could say to a client like, yo, I can, 2 weeks, I could have this back for you in 2 weeks for, let's say, $2,500.
Right.
And I'll grind the whole night and say, here you go, next day. Thank you.
Wow, and you told them 2 weeks?
Yeah, I said, well, if I get it done early, just please be ready, have my check ready. and they laugh like, oh yeah, but my wife would say, yeah, he's for real. And I'd send them an email 3:45 in the morning, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. Here you go, have a look at this. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Wow.
Yeah, but I I wouldn't do overnighters like every night. I
Yeah.
would do it like 3 times a week
Right.
and just crunch out.
That's still a lot.
Yeah.
3 times a week. That's grinding.
Yeah.
How important is it in that beginning stages to grind that hard?
I think that grind period, I'll relate it to something that we can like kind of see. It's like you're about to get this big boulder emotion, depending on how big your dream is.
Right.
And you're getting this big boulder moving from it being stationary, right? And you're needing all the effort you can to get that thing turning. And then by the time it break and turn, it gets a little easier. And then you keep pushing, and then it develops momentum. Yeah, and then you keep pushing, and then all you gotta do is just maintain. You don't have to push as hard, you know, and then you just maintain, you check in, you be like, okay, it's running, okay, cool. And it's like all maintenance, you know, you kind of come back and check it while it's running, okay, it's running good, okay, the ball is moving, all right, I don't have to push it that hard, look. You know? But in the beginning, it's just gaining momentum, gaining a presence. It's very important. It's almost like you're pulling something from the mind, from an intangible place, from another reality, and you're pulling it into this reality. It's like aggression, it's fighting this dream and beating will, fighting to get it here. You know, it's not automatic. If it's automatic, it's not really worth, you know, the fight, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, so you wrestle it here. When it gets here, you're like, okay, you're here. Oh snap! Let's see how, you know, make this thing happen. Yeah, but it's very important.
And it goes back to like I talk to a lot of people, and I'm just like, I think sometimes on the spiritual side, for believers,
Keep it real.
what I see is you pray for it. You know. And we leave it to God, but we neglect the work at times.
That's real.
And it's just like, well, no, the work still has to happen, because my example is when you plant a seed, you don't get that tree right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so you can pray all you want. Unless time elapses and that seed does work to sprout out the roots and all of that stuff, that tree's not coming any faster, because God is eternal. He's in eternity. We're in time, so we have to live by the laws of time.
So good.
So the seed of the dream, whatever it is in you, it's gonna take that. Pray. But that work still has to go.
You gotta put that work in. I'm gonna share something with you too. And this happened like right when we were on the cusp of breaking through, right? We're coming, we're becoming, and then we become, right? And so I remember, man, just having this conversation in prayer, just talking. And I heard the Lord clear as day. And he said to me, he said, you are my son, and I love you. But if you're lazy, I will not bless you.
Wow.
There's a guy down the street, doesn't care about me, diligent at his craft, all through the night. I'd rather bless him for you. And so when I heard that, it pierced my heart.
Wow.
Because I'm like, we have a mentality to say, okay, I'm favored by God, and so I don't have to be diligent. It said the diligent soul shall be made rich. And so it didn't say the Christian, the Presbyterian, the diligent. So it's like, it's just the laws. It's just natural laws. Like if you're diligent about something, it's just a matter of time before this thing grow and become, you know? And so even when things are great, there's always this check in my heart, like, are you being lazy? I'm like, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I'm like, oh no. And so like, sometimes it's just finding that balance too, because you could overwork yourself. Because in the name of saying I don't want to be lazy or perceived as lazy, but at the same time you have to have some form of balance, because life, where is your quality of life if all you do is grind?
Yeah.
You should be working towards something and enjoying something, you know? Yeah, what if, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. You could go. You're definitely a teacher. But it's good though. It's good though. That's on point, because that's something that I always say. I think sometimes we can neglect or we can forget about the natural laws where it's just you work for something. So your company now, you have a construction side to it now.
Yes, sir.
When we first spoke, I missed that part.
Yes, yes.
And you had to tell me it again, but that's huge though.
Yes, so even just in the beginning stages, just to kind of give you the dream. So before we started and the business was like into full momentum,
right?
We had a vision. Okay, it's going to be 3 arms. That's the first thing we saw. Like we saw the Addison Group being the design engineering company, and then we saw the construction side coming out from another arm, and then another arm, the real estate side. And so we were thinking first to start with construction.
Right.
And then we just got to know in the spirit, like, no, design first. And then it made so much sense because everything starts from design and then flow into the natural, from idea, from concept, you know,
right.
into, so we started the design firm and that started developing momentum. And it's almost like we treat it like a baby when it get to a certain age where it's able to self-sustain, feed itself, you know, change its own mess, you know, stuff like that. You're like, okay, you're at a level where I can just check in on you,
right?
And I could bear another child, which is the next baby, the next business,
right?
And so when this one is good, we're like, okay, now let's train this one up. So now this construction arm, which is the Addison Development Corp, this now is kind of broad too, because it could cater to developers, investors, or just somebody just wanting to put an addition.
Right.
You know, you could have somebody saying, hey, I have 5 acres and I want to put, you know, 35 townhomes. You could cater to them. Or somebody just say, hey, I just bought this house and, you know, down the street, and it don't look like much, but it means a lot to me. Can you help me to bring my dream, my vision into this house, you know, from the design to the construction. Now, what does that look like? It's very, very busy because you're dealing with all sorts of people.
Yeah.
You have the clients who come from different backgrounds. Some people don't have any knowledge of construction.
Yeah. And
then you have some who are very versed in it, who know a lot to be dangerous. so yeah. And then you have the guys that work for you, the people that work for you, that the families, and you want to do good for them, and you want to make sure you always have bread for them, you know. So it's that tangent in between to create that balance and that system and that flow.
Yeah.
But one thing we had said in the beginning, we didn't want to put our hat where we can't reach it, like bite more than you could chew.
Yeah.
And you know, people would say, man, you just got to dive in. And I'm like, yeah, I get diving in. But what if I make a $1 billion or $1 million mistake where I'm like in the hole by so much, and how I'm gonna come out? I'm a wreck. And so I believe in just taking the time to analyze the market, learn the business, study the business. And if you got to take a couple loss in the beginning just because you're not, you know, too head deep,
right? You
know, that's just me being cautious. I have a family. I don't want to put them out there like that. You know what I mean? So I'm coming for your family. You know? Must sue you. Must sue your socks off. So it's just being mindful and not being greedy as well. Yeah. There are times when you might be in a deal, and out of the sake of just being, what's the word? Just integrity. Yeah. You might end up with not making any money. And you got to be cool with that.
Yeah.
Because it's about having, keeping a good name, which
Facts.
you could wreck your name just like that. But building a good name, yeah.
Yeah, and people, that name thing, it'll get out there.
Yes.
And people won't work with you
Oh
because
my
of
goodness.
that name.
I heard about you.
Yep.
Yeah, you do sloppy work.
And then some people will be like, yo, I heard about you, let's go.
Yeah,
Whatever
exactly.
and then you tell them the price and they're like, oh, let's go.
Exactly.
Because they just want to work with you.
Exactly.
And that's integrity. Speaking to you in the hat that you wear, and the people that you're now responsible for.
Yeah.
Like you're responsible for livelihood. So like, what does that feel like?
Sometimes I'm a wreck, man. I'm a wreck. I'm gonna be honest with you. There are times where I just have to take 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Or 20 minutes. Or I'll say, I'll call my wife and I'll vent to her. I was like, would you believe it? This is not happening. and what I love about her is it's crazy because I'm very, very nice and then I could be, strong on the business side.
Right.
But she keeps a very level head, and there's some times where I could get all in my emotions.
Yeah.
And she's like, babe, no, don't lose sleep over that. And then I'm like, but babe, that's our reputation.
Yeah.
But being responsible for like the livelihoods of people, it's tough,
Yeah.
It's tough because you first of all, you want to make sure your kids, your family, your own deal is straight, is
Right.
tight. But then the people who keep the ship moving, you want to make sure they're well fed. And not just that they're fed, but that they're happy.
Yeah.
Because they could easily say, oh, there's another ship over here. You have big dreams, but it's just not doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like trying your best to keep them happy and not just make promises, but make sure you keep your promises. Like you're like, oh yeah, when we get this, we're gonna do this. And make sure when you get it, you do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's integrity again.
Yep.
And so people, things might not be great all the time, but when people could trust you,
Yeah.
and know that you really care about them. They say your business go through a crisis, and they trust you. Like, man, he's not throwing us. He's not throwing us to the side. He's trying to see ways he can help us work through this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I believe that's key for people in knowing that you really deeply care about them rather than the success of something.
Yeah.
You see them as a part of you. You know what I mean? An extension of yourself. Like, oh yeah, he's in the mailroom, but when I was in the mailroom when I started, I was so good.
Yeah.
And I can't be there now, but I trust Jimmy over there to hold it down for me. Jimmy, how's the mail coming? Oh, it's going good, sir. Awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Let's do lunch Tuesday. But
Yeah.
it's just seeing the value in everybody, and even in ministry, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You see the value in all the people who help to make it a success, and that you don't have to be the front man.
Yeah.
The unity could be the template or the brand. The unity, us, family.
Yeah.
And so I do that all the time, where people who play a vital role in us doing what we do every week or every day.
Yeah.
I love to praise them. I love to celebrate them, or even do something random, just to bless them. But I believe in just in the value in people. You know what I mean? It's a big deal. That's a resource. Yeah, and how you manage people, it's a big deal.
And you manage on 3 facets because you have the household, the ministry, and the business.
Yeah.
So that's like 3 different. It's 3 different types of management too.
Yes.
Did you know you were a leader? Did you have leadership qualities like?
I remember like my first just leading people. I was about 11 years old in Jamaica in high school, and I remember going down to the harbor in Kingston and catching crabs. You know, this is like in the inner city.
Yeah.
Rough.
Just catching crabs?
Catching little crabs. You know,
I was about
putting
to
them
say.
in little boxes and stuff. And you know, I was just intrigued by just life. You know,
Yeah.
little creatures and stuff. And so I remember telling the whole class, I said, hey y'all want to go down to the waterfront with me and catch some crabs? And you're like, yeah. The whole class, 30 odd kids, line formation going down to Kingston in the inner city, the rough part, catching crabs, rolling pants legs up. And the bad part is, the reason why I say it's bad, some of the kids got robbed. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
They rob kids?
I mean, yeah. Your lunch money, your bus fare, you know.
Wow.
And so I think back and I'm like, to move 30 kids at your will to go catch crabs in the hood. They know it's dangerous, but they come with you.
Yeah.
You know, nobody was hurt, you know.
Yeah.
But I just think about that. It was like my first time where I really see it's like a Pied Piper.
Yeah.
Blowing the little thing there, leading all these kids off.
Wow.
Yeah, it could have been bad.
Yeah.
Like really bad. So yeah.
That's a like you said, that's a lot of people to move to one person's will.
Yeah. And
which is crazy.
We didn't take any bus. We were walking a few miles.
So people are seeing this
all these
kids.
Yeah.
Just going, wow.
Thinking it's a field trip. Oh,
yeah.
They're having a field trip.
They're having a field trip.
Yeah, catch crabs.
That's crazy. I love crabs.
There you go.
I love eating crabs.
Me too.
So when you said that, I'm like, yo, you just catching crabs? Like, wow, that's amazing.
Well, they do catch them like that. Yeah.
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 I like talking about failure. Starting this, doing this, even in the midst of it, even today, today was hard for me to get through. It was tough. But to have her just being like, gotta do it,
so good.
Move through it. Even through failures, man, and we're going through failures, different things that technical difficulties, and they just, don't worry about it, we'll get it. And to you, it's like what you were saying, it's like, that's your name, that's your brand, like all of that's there. But I feel like when it comes to failure, especially if you have somewhere to be, you have somewhere that you want to get to, failure is just another name on a cross street.
Wow.
On the road to where you're trying to get to.
Yeah. Your perspective of failure, whether you're gonna stop there or keep going, Yeah. Because sometimes failure could really be a full stop for people if they're not strong-willed enough or driven enough.
Yeah.
It could break their heart to say, "I'll never try again."
Wow.
But if you're motivated and you really believe in that dream, it will be a cross street. Yeah, I believe there's so much more potential out there, so much things to be discovered, but some people, the fear of failure. Yeah. I don't want to get turned down. Yeah. I got 2 no's. I got 5 no's. I got 10 no's. I'm done, Yeah. And just even like remembering being in my little minivan, my little Honda Odyssey.
You still remember it?
Oh, I love it. I was telling my wife, baby, we got to get another one. The same year, 2001. She's like, no. But I think back on grinding and just cold calling people from Jacksonville to Fort Myers to Daytona to Tampa. Yeah. Just calling every builder saying, I could partner with you. I could help your company, getting no's and no's and no's, and then getting a couple yeses, and I'm like, honey, we got a yes here. And I'm in the minivan, it's cold outside, and I didn't want to turn on my engine because I'm like, I don't want to waste the gas. Yeah. So I had my jacket on, had my clipboard with all the people I'm going to call. Wow. And then I put my asterisks on who gave me, some time, call me back. Hit me, send me your portfolio, Wow. Yeah, so we had to work through some no's for sure.
Yeah.
And even on this level is you might have people who might fail you, who you're relying on. You know what I mean? You're
Wow.
expecting them to, uphold their end.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they might just let you down, but it's your face that's being seen, not theirs. And so even though you're like, man, this is what you're about, but you have somebody who's very key.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's just really working through that, whether that person, it was just that one moment or this is habitual.
Yeah. I had that. That was tough for me
Yeah.
because I had never felt that before.
Wow.
But sitting here talking to you, it put it in perspective. I didn't know that that's what I was, or that was what I was feeling at that time.
Yeah.
You may become used to yourself failing. You're like, okay, now it's not as much of a stop anymore. It's not as much as a bump anymore. It's just like, okay, this is another part.
Yeah.
Oh, we're at this stage again. Oh, we're at this
we
moment
went through
again
this, yeah.
where I'm messing something up. But then when someone fails you,
Yeah.
that's a different.
Yeah.
It felt different for me at that time.
Especially if you're way down the road, Now,
Yeah.
if you just turn the car on and you just start rolling your wheels and you're like, oh yeah, I know we got to work out some kinks.
Yeah.
But now you're on the highway where a lot's at stake. You can't tell me we didn't check the tires? Oh, what? That's that wobbly sound back there?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was trusting you to, And so sometimes we put our faith in people, but we still can do the maintenance as well, just to make sure, follow behind,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and there's sometimes it's just inevitable,
Yeah.
And you meet great people who fall to being in, millions of dollars in bankruptcy.
Wow.
But because of the dream and just how they're built, this won't stop them, you know? And they keep excelling and they come back and they double and triple what they were before, you know? And so I look at those things as examples, not to be discouraged and find ways to build up again, to keep the dream alive. It's like feeding this dream, this thing that's living, and you got to feed him or else he die.
Yeah.
And feed him with what? By making steps to it, Yeah.
You got I got to bring you back. I have to bring you back, man.
Man, I got you, bro.
I got to see what you're doing.
I got you. Man.
We're gonna stay in touch. We're gonna stay in touch for sure.
Yeah.
But we gotta do another check-in.
Absolutely,
man. I appreciate you
absolutely.
sitting down with me.
Yes, sir.
Let the people know how they get in touch with you.
Oh, for sure.
The socials, the websites, or whatever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So feel free to connect with me via Facebook, Christopher Baugh, Baugh, or even on Instagram. There we go, at chris.balllegacy. You can reach out there, or you can check out our website at www.addison.com. We can see some of our work, and we're still building, still grinding. And also for the ministry, Lifetime Community Church, we're repping on the east side of Orlando, where the Spirit of God is just bananas, just wrecking it. And so feel free to come through, and I promise you, God will change your life. Bless you.
Yeah, amen. So thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of The Sit Down. Subscribe to the YouTube, but you don't watch my stuff and not subscribe, so whatever, you're a subscriber, give this video a thumbs up. All the information for the guests will be in the description of this video, so connect with them, check them out. You want to get some work done on your home, or you want to get your home design or whatever, boom, hit them up. So yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. We will see y'all next time. Deuces. Woo! Fist bump for the outro.
Yeah.